Hi, what's up, y'all? It's D, about to react to this video by I've Been Preachers titled Sellout. Okay, Dave Chappelle is in the thumbnail. They are saying Dave Chappelle is a sellout for whatever reason. It looks like this has to do with the Saudi Arabia stuff. Didn't he already do that a long time ago? People still talking about that? Or is it something else? Okay, let's see what's going on. Let's watch.
Dave Chappelle did an interview with NPR, and the interview went viral. People were discussing some of the things he said in regards to trans folks, politics, his views on comedy, the SELLOUT festival, and I kind of wanted to do a breakdown. But before we discuss any of these, I think this conversation, especially when it relates to comedians and their quote-unquote perceived power, I think it always runs the same roadblock. And so I thought it'd be great to just hear from Dave about what he says in this interview in regards to the idea that jokes are just jokes and comedians don't take them seriously. And so I'm not going to say anything.
One of the things that you said,
there's so many things that are happening in politics and whatever that are unprecedented. And you have to explain to a person, well, this is why this is unusual. This contextualization is what comedians do. We're like the nation's kidney. We help everyone metabolize not just facts, but feelings around facts or ideas.
You don't help me do that.
On stage. But there's a lot of big ideas that people have feelings about. There's no real context to conversate or rebut them. I'm not the biggest comedian, but my voice is sought after. The first time I can remember doing a big show in the Middle East, they gave me a list of all the things I wasn't supposed to address. So I took the list on stage, and that was the show. I just did the list. Don't talk about the royal family. That's y'all, and I just made fun of them. Man, they were screaming. I'm backstage at a meet and greet, and there was all these young comedians from all over the Middle East. They were looking at me like I wouldn't even know that they'd know who I am. They couldn't believe I was there. They kept saying, "You just say that? You just say that stuff?" Yeah. But I never forgot that. I'm doing a show. There's a police officer killed a black person, and the black community asked me to cancel the show. We don't want artists to come. We want to boycott.
Was that in Ohio? Was that in Cincinnati?
Yeah, it was exactly.
Was it Cincinnati? Yeah.
And I respected their wishes, but it's like, we could have got together and talked about it. You know, and I like doing it, but I do that often. I was in Paris when they killed Alex Preddy, and I booked the show in Minneapolis right after they killed that guy. Like, man, they're gonna need to talk about this. But you can console certain communities with your presence, or just acknowledging that you.
I'm not with the whole trying to bully these celebrities into doing what you want them to do. Like, you be the change that you want to see. You go out there and protest in the streets and be an activist. Why are you trying to push everybody to do that? Not everybody wants to take on that responsibility and that role. So who are you to be like, no, you need to be doing this? And the fact that he, listen to them is crazy. I'll be like, fuck y'all. Now I'm gonna do it. Because now you're trying to tell me what I'm gonna do and what I'm not gonna do. Now I'm a rebel at heart. Sorry, not sorry. You're not about to tell me what I'm gonna do and what I'm not gonna do. Fuck y'all. So I don't like that. I don't like how people look up to these celebrities as if they're supposed to be this perfect person and do everything right, and they have to have the same exact political views as you and move exactly how you would move. Like, everybody is not the same. So you're trying to force them into this box. I think it's so bizarre.
That sounds like just jokes when you're talking about, I'm giving voice to these people, I'm helping console them, I'm helping them digest difficult
ideas. That's a lot to take on. Like, nigga, I'm just here to take jokes. This is getting too deep. This is getting too serious. You're doing a lot, all right? There's a whole bunch of other comedians out there. You go grab one of them to be the activist that you want them to be. I didn't sign up for that. So I don't like the pressure. That's another thing. I'm a rebel at heart, and I don't like pressure. Don't pressure me to do shit, because now I'm not going to do it. So I don't like how people do this. They do this with all celebrities. It doesn't matter who you are, actor, singer, comedian. They want everyone to be an activist and to speak on everything and do the right thing all the time and stand up and speak against what's wrong. Like, it's too much.
You might believe jokes are just jokes. I don't believe comics believe that. That's the majority of them. And I don't think Dave thinks that.
If you go to a comedy club somewhere in America, your feelings and thoughts are represented.
Because it's important, because every opinion that you could think of is championed in a room. I don't silence your champions. I'm not your champion, and I am someone else's. You can't silence the team that you don't like, but you do have the opportunity to go on after.
And that's the other thing too. It's like, you want people to speak up about certain things, and you want them to talk about politics as long as it aligns with your views. How crazy is that? It's like, okay, yeah, let's say that he starts speaking up and saying, oh, I support Trump. Now it's like, oh, no, don't say that. Now we don't want you to talk about it. Now we want you to be quiet. Oh, I thought you wanted me to talk and to speak up, and about these serious topics in the world. So it's just so odd.
Say your piece. Man, this has happened to me so many times in my career where a guy will say something, I'm like, oh, I don't feel a way about it. Yeah, I don't think that they should be silenced, but I can't wait. They're going to pull me up next.
So if it's just jokes, why does he feel some type of way? I think people share a lot of Chappelle content with me. And when you pay attention to what they're sharing it for, the reasons are pretty clear. This was shot, 10 years ago? 17 years ago. Yeah. Here, how old is 15 really? Okay? If I scroll down 17 years ago, okay, I'm going to just try to zoom in a little bit here. His ability to include real-life situations to educate his audience while being funny is just amazing to me. Dave Chappelle is an absolute master at discussing serious matters while disguising them as jokes. This is what separates him from so many of the run-of-the-mill comics. He weaved in half a dozen news stories and used them all to make a real point about how society has double standards, commented on strange priorities, news media, they inform people's views. Dave knows that, that's how he explains it in the interview, but even in the way people interacted with a lot of his content, not all, but a lot of it was about the social commentary. A joke can be used for different things. It can be used to help, heal, console, make people feel included, and it can also be used for evil. Some of the most charismatic people who've done horrendous evils all over the world use humor, satire, different kinds of imagery that are funny to get their political messages across. Humor is powerful. People pretending like it's neutral are deluding themselves. Donald Trump, in his rise to power, one of the big things that people said that they loved about him was how funny he was. Right. And if he wasn't funny, I'll be honest with you, there's no chance he becomes president. Half the people I know who share Donald Trump content don't share it for its political points. Nope. They share it because it's fucking funny and base. And I want to play a clip for you guys.
There was an episode described, and it was never elucidated, that somebody on the crew laughed at a sketch you did, and you thought the laughter was on the wrong side of the humor. Do you recall what that was?
But this is exactly what he said on Oprah or some other show 15 years ago. I never forgot this because it really stuck with me.
Oh, yeah, I remember. It just raised an interesting question to me, which I was already wrestling with in the first place. At that time, especially in my career, I always had a feeling that anything minutes I err on the side of excess. And in these instances where you go too far, you're playing with powerful shit, doing jokes about racism and this ism and that ism. And to me, I looked at it as an occupational hazard, but I also realized that I was bigger than I was comfortable with. I didn't.
That's the issue. Okay, so the more this goes on, he kind of dug his own grave. Because yes, people I was more so speaking in general terms, let's be clear, because I brought up actors, singers, because I just noticed that people do this with everyone. But with Dave specifically, okay, it makes a bit more sense when people do it because he has kind of created that lane for himself. And I'm like, oh wait, now that I think about it, he does include a lot of politics and, trans topics and all type of stuff like that in his comedy, so I can see why people would hold him to a certain standard, even though they do this with anybody, okay, regardless. But it's like, okay, with this particular case, it's like, okay, now they got an excuse. It's like, well, we're doing it because this is what you talk about in your comedy. So it's like, sure, whatever. But now he's saying that, okay, well, this is a bigger role than I wanted to take on. He's saying that it's okay, y'all still expecting a bit too much from me. Just because I have spoke about these things, it doesn't mean that I should be held to this standard to where you guys are like, yes, lead us to the promised land. Yes, our political comedian, yes. So I feel like he starts to feel like, okay, this is a bit much. Which he has a right to feel that way. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, you did kind of create that lane for yourself.
I also realized that I was bigger than I was comfortable with. I didn't trust the circumstances of the being that big or whatever.
What the person was laughing at that you felt, you diagnosed as being, oh, this is wrong.
Yeah, but more vividly, I just remember the feel, the way it made me feel.
Well, you don't want to talk about it?
I mean, it was so bad, I fucking quit the show.
I'm going to just pause it there. What did you hear? Well, not only that, he said I was playing with powerful things, whether it be racism, all this other stuff, right? So when he's saying I'm playing with these powerful topics and I didn't like the way somebody laughed, it meant that he was covering things that he knew were difficult. Yeah. And the audience that was enjoying it the most on set bothered him so deeply. It was really...
Oh, yeah, I remember. I talked about this before, but he has said this prior to this interview in a more joking way, but he talked about how on the Chappelle show specifically, like, he would make certain jokes, I guess, about black people and whatnot, and it would be like certain white people like, okay, you laughing too hard, I don't like that. Like, this is supposed to be like satire and this is supposed to be funny, but you like, yeah, this is how y'all are, so I remember him saying that before as well.
The reasons he left the show and walked away from $50 million. Almost at 50 million penises. That's crazy.
That's less than my deal.
Yeah. Pause. That's crazy. Because I want you to transpose that decision, and I think it helps to elucidate why some people look at him now, and people have been raising the issue like, who's laughing at these jokes the most? Now, I'm not saying everybody laughs at that, but it's just that you had an issue with it then. You have an issue with it now, and it sounds like he doesn't.
Watching the news is like taking a civics class. You know, I got all that flack for doing a festival in Saudi Arabia, but in Saudi, you know, I don't think that festival would have been legitimate if I wasn't there.
That they believe that the Saudis killed Jamal Khashoggi at the embassy in Turkey. You knew that when you went, right?
Oh, absolutely not. I should tell you.
You had no qualms?
I won't say that. They asked me to go years before that, and I said no for that very reason. Since that time, the United States government does business with the Saudis. Netflix does business with the Saudis. Everyone, the Saudis finance tons of movies. All these, I know, I see them financing boxing matches and all these things. And none of these things were an issue until I went there. And why is that? As soon as a black man can make money off the plantation, they try to tell you that the money is dirty. Well, okay, I'll go home and spend the money with actual slave owners' money.
I think nobody got more shit for doing the Saudi festival than Bill Burr. All the comics who went got a lot of negative press for him saying it's about being black.
You know, if you want to be that pure about money, then stop driving your car, stop eating, don't use it.
That fucking part. Oh, when people act so holier than thou, like, how dare you support this artist or this person when they've done these terrible things? Everything you use on a daily basis, you are supporting horrible, terrible people around the world. You cannot avoid it. We are all indirectly supporting, or I'm gonna say indirectly, directly. We're putting money directly in the pockets of these very evil, terrible people. You can't avoid that. So to act like you're so holier than thou as you're using all of these products around your home, you can find several things. Look it up. Okay, there are so many. It gets deep. There are dark connections to horrible people in our society when you buy certain brands of toilet paper and dishwashing liquid and makeup. Like you can't avoid it. So when people, have that mindset, I'm like, okay, well, you need to be off on an island somewhere, not using any brands, not using the internet. Like, you would have to go off the grid to avoid supporting horrible people. So I think that's just so hypocritical. And you can say, well, we can try our best, but it doesn't seem like people want you to try your best. It seems like they want to play morally superior and condemn you for the things that you support and the things that you enjoy.
The cell phone, everything is tethered to something that's just terrible.
Child labor, like, get the fuck
to
on.
deprive that crowd of that show. But man, when I was standing in front of them, I felt I did the right thing. Our governments are going to ruin everything for us. We'll never get to know each other if we just do everything that they want to do or function on terms that they want us to function.
And I kind of understand what he's trying to say.
I agree with him.
Tom changed a couple of things. And a similar situation happened to me, as a matter of fact, right? Where I refused to go to the Dominican Republic, because of their treatment of Haitians over there. And one day I had a wedding, and I went there. And when I came back, some people was like, yeah, what's up, how you doing? I just came back from the DR. I had a wedding there, so I went there. You went to the DR? I'm like, yeah, I went to the DR. Ew, how could you? You know how they treat Haitians? And I'm like, yeah, but you go to France every summer. They stole money from us. They never gave it back. We have to pay them for our liberty. And you go to the States. The States in 1914 went in Haiti, and then they stole all the gold that we had, and then they come back. And then later on with the Clinton, they fucked us up. So it's like, for something it's okay, for some other things it's not. Where do we draw the line? I can understand where he's coming from. We're still paying them as a country, as Haiti. We're still paying them, and they are depleting our resources. Right, but you're still going to chill there and enjoy the wine that you're done. If you're not going there, whenever you go to the liquor store, I got some great wine or champagne. You love champagne. I know you love champagne. Where is champagne from? From France, the ones that are depleting that. So you're consuming the product.
He is preaching, no pun intended, okay? Check out their vid. I will link them down below to hear the rest of their commentary. But I agree with this mindset. And this doesn't mean that you can't stand for anything. You can stand for whatever you like. But it's like we're in a very fucked up world, okay? Not just in the States. Every country fucked up. Very fucked up ties to some very dark, horrible shit. You really can't avoid supporting certain horrible people and horrible causes. That's just a part of living in this fucked up society. So it's like you can do your best, sure, but I think it's really trifling to condemn others when it's like we're all just trying to do our best and live a happy life for the short period that we're here on earth. So who are you to try to judge other people for the decisions that they make to try to improve their lives and their families' lives? So yeah, I just think people are very hypocritical. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I remember hearing Bill Burr's response to the whole Saudi Arabia thing as well. I'm pretty sure I reacted to some clips of that, and I thought his response was hilarious. I'm like, let him know, because fuck out of here. Fuck y'all. Fuck y'all. I'm going to do what I want, and what about it? Okay, sure. You want to cancel me, don't support me, cool, do you. But I'm not about to sit here and, be a puppet and have you tell me what I can and can't do. Fuck that. So that's just my thought on the situation. Y'all let me know what y'all think, though, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.